I'm your host, Sean MacKenzie. Thank you for joining me once again on my channel on data engineering. In this episode, we go back to our Microsoft Access playlist. We're going to take a look at how to retrieve values from combo boxes and list boxes. And I know many of you know how to get the selected value from a list box or a combo box, but I also want to take a look at how to get values from all the other columns if you have multi-column combo boxes, and how useful and convenient that can be. So without further ado, let's get to it. Are you a programmer looking for your next gig? Make sure to check out the additional links in the description. Okay, so I'm using a file here that we've used before, and I'm going to take a look at our cities table here. I've got this big long table with 23,000 cities from around the world that I got from the World Bank, and you can download that if you want to look for that there. And I'll start with creating a new form here. I'm gonna create a blank form, and we're just gonna drop a combo box and a list box onto this form, and then we can populate it with the cities. And if you get the wizard here, you can just click cancel. We're gonna populate this ourselves, because what I want you to do is I want you to learn about not just how to get the values today, but you're gonna see how to construct a combo box and a list box using custom parameters for, which is the bound column, and which is, and what fields do you see, and how wide is it, and what gets displayed. So you'll get to see that today as well, because I'm going to build these just before I get the values. If you already know how to do this stuff, you should skip to about halfway through, where I start to look at retrieving both the ID and the other column values from the combo boxes. So what I've done is I've gone into the row source here, and I've got the query builder for this combo box, and I'm just going to grab the name, country, and subcountry, and I'm going to put the ID on the end. And what that's going to do is allow us to put our ID at the very end, and we can put a 0 size column on it, and that'll make the ID disappear, even though we'll use it in our, if we were building an app, we would use the ID probably. And I'll grab the cities from Canada just to make a subset, so it's a little bit easier to read. And we're going to sort that, I suppose, by our subcountry, which in this case would be by province. And we'll save that. Click on the X to save it, say yes, and then we're back to our form here. And I'll extend that out a little bit, make it a little bit bigger. And then we can go into our row source here. You can see that it is a select statement, and it has 4 columns in it. And so we have 4 columns to choose from to determine what the return value is of this combo box. So we could return the name of the city, we could return the ID, which is column 4, which is what we're going to do, and we can limit to list and all kinds of other stuff. And then we can set some column widths if we want. We'll set the column count as 4, and we'll set the column widths, and in this case I have centimeters because I'm using the Canadian regional settings, but you might be in the United States and use inches. But you can pop in your column widths. It's always best to put in your own widths for the data, so that it sort of matches the size of the items you have there. And then we can continue. So if I select my combo box here, I can view it just by clicking on the view in the top left there, on the form view, and you can see this has got all of my cities in it, but it's not really wide enough for anything. So what I'll do is I'm going to go back to design view, and I'll put in a custom width for the drop down portion of it. So that'll be on the format tab there, and you can see it generates auto. But if you've got a multi-column list, you probably want to extend it out quite a ways so that people can pick from it. And there you go. So you can see now I've got a nice wide list, and for the most part the cities are fully visible in there. So if I choose North Vancouver or Richmond or some other values, you can see that the city name goes into the combo box, but the ID underneath of it is actually the numeric ID, which we'll look at in just a second here. But before we continue, we're going to do the same thing, and I'm going to drop a list box on here and I'll extend this out because this is actually going to be a pretty wide list box. Again, I'll click cancel with the wizard that comes up, and then we can go into our other tab on the property sheet, and we'll give it a name that makes sense. We'll call it LBX cities, and then we can get the data in the same way that we got the data for the combo box. We're going to click on that ellipsis, and it's going to give us the query editor so that we can build a query. We'll grab the cities table, and then I'll click add and then close, and then we can go ahead and choose some columns. So I'll choose exactly the same columns that we had before. So we're going to grab the name of the city, the country, and then the sub-country, which, like I said, in this case is province. It might be state if you live in the United States, and the ID. So again, we put the ID on the end, and we're going to filter by Canada here. And we'll do the same thing in that we'll sort by the sub-country or the province, and I'll show you how to sort it. Now you'll notice I might want to sort by the name of the city next, but I can't choose the ascending immediately in the sort of start of it, and the reason is that this ascending gets done first, and then this ascending gets done second. So you'll notice that I unchecked the show box so that I've chosen the same field again, and I'm saying, use that name, show that one first, but then we're going to sort by the province and then the city. So we'll click on the X and say yes to save that, and then that gives us our row source for our list box that we're going to use to get different values from. And much in the same way as I did the other example, our combo box, we're going to put our column count as 4. I'll put my widths as 3, 3, 3, and 0. In this case, I might want to put those column heads on, but we've got our width in there, so those look good. And I'll go ahead and put the column heads on as well so that we've got a bit of a header. And now we've got a list box, and it's sorted by the province first. Now this one is not sorted by the city, so we're going to go back and fix that. And so that these are the same. I'll fix this little label here. I'll just move that out of the way. Here we go. We'll call this one cities as well, or city, or cities, and then so now what we can do is we'll click on that list box, and actually our combo box I should say, we click on the combo box, and then we're going to fix that sorting, and we'll click on the data tab, and then we click on our row source, go to the ellipsis, and it gives us our SQL view again here, or our grid view for SQL. And now you can see I need to add another ascending, so just like I did last time, I'm going to add that name field again since it appears before the other one in the list, and we're going to uncheck show, and then we'll set it to ascending so that the list sorts first by the province and then by the city. And so now the two lists should be exactly the same. So there's our first ascending, and here's our second ascending, and those go in order from left to right. And so now I'll save that, and we can go back up and look at it in our combo view again here. I'll put this list back to the top here, and so you can see now we've got the same list starting with Airdrie. There we go. And this one list starts with Airdrie. They both have 3 columns, and now we can really sort of take a look at this. And there's many ways to get the selected values out of these, and And we're going to take a look at some of those now. Now, one of the ways you might get the values is in VBA. So if you hit Control G on your keyboard, you'll see the immediate window come up here. And the immediate window is sort of where we can, you can query parts of the app, you can run commands and things like that. And we're just going to look for that value that we selected. So I'm going to go forms, cities, CBO LBX, which was the name we gave to that form, LBX cities, and there you go. So it's giving me the value 2385, which is the ID value. And now if I switch to the combo box and I look for the combo box value, oh, I must have got the wrong name here. And it is indeed CBO city, so there we go. So now you can see I selected the same value in each one, and so it's giving me that 2385 value there. And that's one way that you can look it up. So if you had a procedure, you could look up the value, the ID value of the selected value of that combo box by choosing, just naming the combo box like that, forms, and then the name of the form, and then the control, and that's in an expression. That's what we call an expression. And so this is our CBO city here, and so we could do something like we could drop a text box on here, and this is very important because what I used in VBA there is actually what is called an expression, and expressions are usable all throughout Microsoft Access, and so you don't have to be writing code. You can use a similar way of naming it by putting it into either a control, or you might have an expression that's evaluated in another field or something like that. So I renamed this one here, and I'm going to paste in the I'll put an equal sign and then I'll paste in the value here. So I'm going to extend this a little bit, and now you can see I've got equal forms, cities, CBO, LBX, and then our field name. And now when I open the form, you can see that it's bound to that. So if I can change the city name, and I'm getting the ID value, or ID. It's not always the ID that is the bound column, so I'll make that clear. But in this case, it is the ID value that is bound. And bound means it's the value that is returned when you make a selection in the combo box. So by changing the selection, it changes the bound value, which is returned. And so we've got 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth column is hidden because we gave it a 0 width. We don't want to see those numbers in the background, but you might use this for another purpose. And so that's very, very handy, having our expression in a text box. But what if we wanted to see a value from another column? And sometimes I've seen programmers where they take the ID and then they go back and do a query against the table to get that value that's already been pulled out of the database. And so you can see I just changed it and I put the dot column and then the number of the column on there. And so Canada is always going to be the same because we we chose all Canada for this, so let's make that a little bit more interesting. So you can see it's the column number, and it's a 0-based numbering, so that means the first column is 0, the second column is 1, etc., etc. The third column is 2. So now you can see when I put a 2 or 3 in there, I should say. No, that's a 2. So it's because it's the third one. So you can see I'm getting the subcountry or province, as it is in here, is being put onto the text box. And so you can use that dot column method or property in order to get any value from your combo box. Now that can be really, really helpful when you do not have to do a hit back on the database to do some lookup and use some SQL and tease out some data that you've already got on your screen. And so I've actually done a lot of fixing of different screens and things, and sometimes it's my own screen that I did ages and ages ago, and where I got the ID value, and then I went and did some lookup when I actually had the data that I needed already pulled into the combo box or list box. And so I can do the same thing. You can see here with the list box, I put the same kind of text box below it, and I just changed it to point to the list box instead. And so now I've got the I'll choose the 0 column, which is the very first column in both of these, and so now I can get the city to show up there, and the city is not the selected value of each of these. The city is just one of the column values that is in the selected row. And so you can see how this would be very, very handy if you're populating other fields on your form. You can grab, the third column from a text box or list box and things like that, and it makes it really, really handy and very flexible for your programming. And so say I wanted to get the actual ID value, so I could put in column 3, which is the fourth column, or I could just remove the column from that expression entirely, because leaving it off is the default is to grab the selected or the bound column. And so we bound our column to the ID field, and so if I scroll through these here, you can see it's grabbing all of the IDs. Even if I scroll through, it goes very quickly, and so that is very, very handy. So I could actually remove, like I said, if I remove the dot column from that, and it will actually go to the selected bound column, which is, you can see there is bound column is 4, and so the fourth column will be the one that's returned by default. And so you could do the same thing here. If I just remove this, it'll give the same value as if I say dot column 3, because we bound it to the fourth column. Now that can be a little bit it's a little bit confusing, because the bound column asks for 1, 2, 3, 4, but when you select it using column, it's 0, 1, 2, 3. So remember that. But we can do that. I removed it, and this is the bound column output for the list box as I scroll through it using the arrow key, and that's exactly what we want to see. Makes it very, very easy. So now you can use that ID value to populate things or whatever. And we can do the same thing here with our in VBA. So if you're writing a procedure, you can go .column1. What's the value that's in the first column or fifth column of my multi-column combo box? I need to use that for something. And so what some people do is they'll put measurements. They'll put measurements as part of the drop down, so it's already looked up, and then when it comes time to select the value, they use the ID value and some other fields from the combo box, so that they don't have to do additional programming and waste time and lookups and waiting for the database to return values and things like that. And that's combo and list box values in Microsoft Access. Interested in joining a community of like-minded people? Make sure to check out my Patreon. The link is in the description.